channel Startlifeover. For those of you who just joined my channel, you can watch an introduction video to understand what is my channel about. You can do it later. Link to this video would be in description for this video. Today we're discussing a very important part related to transformation of our body. Simply how to lose weight. A lot of people saying this, a lot of other YouTubers providing this, but actually I had my own result, minus 30-35 pounds, and it was one of the easiest way I have ever done. And I tried before like 5 or 6 times, and I fell to the same trap of not knowing how things works. Why exactly this approach need to be used versus others. And when I start learning things, when I start validating what exactly happening when we're feeding ourselves, how it works inside, it becomes very obvious that this particular approach makes totally sense for me and it should work. And eventually it works. And honestly, I know people who lose like more than 100 pounds. And this is not a secret. Many people lose weight with this particular approach. So I would like to apologize in advance. This video would be a little bit longer than my usual videos, because today we need to not only explain, I would like not only explain what exactly you need to do, but why exactly you need to do. And this is actually a piece that I'm always missing, because everyone says you need to eat this, this or that, and you will be good. And no one explains why, no one explains how often, no one explains how much. Everyone says it's really personal stuff. Everyone needs different portion, everyone needs different ingredients. Yes, it's true, but at least in order to start from something, in order for people, and I assume my subscribers, people who want to change their life and they started right now, they need to have some baseline, as I needed some time ago. And this baseline will give them very solid stair-step, remember about my goals video, stair-step to stand on it and build their future and transform their body. Having said that, we need to discuss 3 important parts. What are we eating, how much are we eating, and when are we eating. These 3 parts, they need to be discussed only as a one, as a whole, because it's like 3 legs of the stool. If you remove one leg, stool will fall down, it would not work. The same in losing weight and in many other things, but losing weight particularly, these 3 things you need to discuss, you need to follow all together as one piece. Otherwise, you will not get a result. Why do we need these 3 things? Why are they all very important? Because first things that we need to do in our body is to improve our metabolism. Metabolism, it is not just digestion or how quickly you are breaking down your food to the different valuable microelements. Metabolism, it is entire body. I read it was about like 180 different processes in your body consist of metabolism. It is not only digestion, it's how your hormones work, how your enzymes produced, how your body produce protein from your gene material, and a lot of other things. But digestion is one of the very important part of metabolism. And our main goal by following these 3 steps or these 3 parts is increase your metabolism and make your body work as a clock. And here let's discuss step number 1. What are we eating? What are we eating? This is very important from the perspective you need to understand your food. It maybe sounds a little bit crazy, but you really need to understand what you are eating and how it impacts on your body. In general, human's body consumes 3 particular ingredients: carbohydrates, proteins and fat. There is not much to discuss about proteins and fat. It's very simple. Meat, nuts or fat, saturated, not saturated, poly, monosaturated or trans fat, and that's it. The main guys that make difference here is carbohydrates. So you need to clearly understand why one carbohydrates would be different than other carbohydrates and how it works in our body. So now let's discuss carbohydrates in a little bit more detail. When you consume the food, your enzymes, which is simple proteins that your body uses to decompose or transform something to something, start decomposing our food, and specifically we are talking about carbohydrates, to the very last unit, very small unit, which is glucose. How our body uses glucose? Glucose is very, very important because glucose would be eventually transferred to energy, to adenosine triphosphate, to ATP actually, that you will hear a lot in my channel, because nothing in our body, nothing works without these ATP guys. It is kind of currency of our energy. If you need something, if you need to create new gene, you are doing ATP. If you need to process new protein, grow your muscle, you need ATP. If you need to digest something, you need ATP. So glucose is very essential because we need to transfer it to ATP, which is energy, and then we can do all these metabolic processes that we are having in our body. Then this glucose would be released by your digestion system to the blood. And guess what? Right. Your glucose level in the blood very high. This trigger another very important organ, which is pancreas, to start secreting and releasing the hormone insulin. Oh guys, this is actually mother of them all. I will create a specific video about insulin sometime later, but here we need to understand only high level how insulin works. So when pancreas see the higher level of glucose in our blood, we releasing insulin to do what? To grab this glucose and move it to different warehouses. We have three particular warehouses in our body: in our muscles, in our liver, and in our adipose tissue, in our fat. Now we come to the point when we need to understand why one carbohydrate different from other carbohydrate, and what carbohydrates we have actually at all. And here we have two types of carbohydrate: simple and complex. I will make it very simple for your understanding. Simple, it is something that has monostructure or very close to monostructure, couple of molecules. It's fructose, lactose, saccharose, everything that can be quickly, very quickly, because it's simple structure, very quickly break down by our enzymes in the body to the glucose and released to the blood. And we have complex, like wheats, bread from multigrain wheats, and so on and so forth. This type of carbohydrates, very complex, and in order to decompose them, in order to release all other microelements and leave only saccharose and glucose and move it to the blood, our body needs some time. So guess what happened when you, for example, drink coffee with milk and sugar and eating some muffin or donuts? This is pure sugar, which is by nature monosaccharide or close to monosaccharide, couple of molecules, which means that it's very quickly decomposed to the glucose and released to the blood. What happened there? You have enormous amount of glucose in the blood in very quick timeline. Your pancreas will start secreting insulin. Insulin will take it, put it to warehouses, and right now in the morning you didn't spend a lot of energy, you didn't spend a lot of muscle activities, and try to guess what happened. Majority of it will go to adipose tissue, to our fat. So this is number one. While if you take some long or complex carbohydrates, it would take like half an hour, 40 minutes to digest, and level of glucose in your blood would be pretty much steady. Definitely not steady, it will go up, but it will be not really quick. It will not be exponential. It will be very kind of steep. And then your body will produce insulin. Another bad thing from, so you understand right now, right? So while you are digesting, you are doing some movements, you are doing some activities, and your body consumes most of it in order to support your body, support your activity. So it will not put it into adipose tissue, it would put it in liver in order to take it out of there for energies that you need during the day. And another side effect of consuming a lot of simple carbohydrates is having high level of insulin in the blood. What does it mean? As we discussed, when you eat a lot of simple carbohydrates, it's very quick release a lot of glucose to the blood, and pancreas start producing and releasing a lot of insulin, and eventually what happens, insulin will take all glucose to the warehouses, but still some level of insulin, some part of insulin will stay circulating in our blood. And what does it mean? When you have higher level of insulin that you actually supposed to have, it makes you feel hungry. And therefore this is kind of circle, catch-22. You eat sweet stuff, it's produce glucose, glucose triggers insulin, insulin take it back and still flowing in the blood, and you are hungry. In 30-40 minutes you again want to eat. Therefore it's very important to stop having a snack break or recess or something. You need to have normal meal, and this is actually our next question: how much should we have? Second part is how much should we eat? And here I will repeat a lot of people, it's definitely very personal. So one person, for example, my height like 174 centimeters, and I'm actually weighing right now 73 kilo. But let's assume I'm bodybuilder and I have a lot of muscles, 174, and I'm weight like 95 kilo, and I'm actually fatty guy who had the same height and the same weight, 95. So definitely these two people would require different amount of food. However, in average, in order again to start and build the first step, this is what I discussed previously, I would recommend to have 60% in our meal carbohydrates, 30% protein, and 10% fat. I know that a lot of people will say 60% of carbs, wow, we cannot eat so many. Believe me, a lot of people who just trying to start life over and trying to lose weight consume about 90% of their food is carbohydrates. Sweets, milk, chocolate, donuts, wheats, lot of things, carbohydrates. And unfortunately not always complex, pretty much always simple. So therefore, by using these 60%, 30% and 10%, you can put yourself like baseline. Within a week or two, you will definitely validate that you cannot eat 60% of carbohydrates because it's too much. But even if you do this at the first week or two, you will definitely reduce the amount of your weight, amount of the simple carbohydrates that you're having, and it would give the result. And then you will adjust within the first week or two, you will adjust the number of carbons in your diet, and then it would be good. Here I would like to add one more specific thing about carbohydrates. Beside the simple and complex, we have another thing that's called glycemic index. So our carbohydrates have glycemic index. And glycemic index is very important to understand, because otherwise you can fall again to the same trap. You're eating carbohydrates, but it provides you more sugar, more glucose, quicker, rather than other carbohydrates. So glycemic index, you can actually validate this in the internet. So glycemic index shows you how much sugar, how much glucose your particular ingredient contains. How it works? Usually, it works very simple. So 100, this is maximum levels that can be on glycemic index. It's sugar, plain sugar. So the higher glycemic index for your carbohydrate, the more sugar it contains. This is very simple. So for example, bananas, it's about 60 glycemic index, while some wheats about 20-30. In regular wheats like 50, right? So it's better to eat some buckwheat or other wheat rather than banana. Now when we understand what type of carbohydrates we have, what we need to eat, carbohydrates, protein, fat, how much each of it should be in your portion or in your meal, let's get to the main point. How much should we eat? Definitely this is actually very specific to each person, and as already said, the big guy with a lot of muscles and the big guy with a lot of fat would require different amount of calories, but let's at least give some understanding and some, again, ranges which you can try for yourself and start from at least. So there are three types of ranges, actually three ranges. First, if you want to lose weight, find the balance between 26 to 30 calories per kilogram of your body. So if I'm 100 kilo guy, so for me it would be average 28, so it would be 2800 calories. If you want to sustain your weight, it should be between 30 and 35 calories per kilogram. And if you want to gain weight, like build your muscle, build your body, then you will try it out. But if you want to gain mass for some reason, look around like 40 to 45 calories per 1 kilograms. Again, this is personal, and I know that I repeat a lot of other bloggers, a lot of other people, but at least I'm giving you some ranges, some proportion, in order to start, in order to within a week or two find out, do you need a little bit less, do you need a little bit more calories or less calories, and adjust yourself. And don't forget, you will adjust it on the entire road of losing weight, because for example, when I were like about 90 kilo, it was one number of calories. When I get to the 85, I need to reduce my portion again, and then 80 and 75 and 73. So this is always what you need to see every week. When you weigh yourself and you see the result, you need to adjust more or less. And again, don't be in rush, don't do this very quickly, because it is also stress for your body. So don't forget about this. So how much is, try this particular number of calories that I said. Another trick and another hint for you, I would say, don't lose more than 1 kilo a week. This is kind of normal stress level for the body, to lose about 1 kilo a week. There is a caveat to this, because first week or two you will lose a little bit more, because your water will get out, your body will clean it out, and then it may be like 3-4 kilo a week. But when you get through this, average in a week should be 1 kilo. Try to build this. So you have proportion, you have range of calories, and you have measurement. 1 kilo a week. If you don't lose 1 kilo a week, reduce your carbs. If you more than 1 kilo a week, increase your carbons. Don't rush it. Again, don't kill yourself. Our goal is to lose weight with a good quality. So it would lose more fat rather than muscles, right? And now let's go to the question number 3. When to eat? Number 3. When should we eat? And it is actually very easy. In order to speed up our metabolism, in order to make it faster digestion, and this is ultimate goal for us, you need to eat more frequent. But don't mix frequent eating with snacks. This would not work. Snacks doesn't work. You need to eat regularly, usually 2.5–3 hours, preferably 5 times a day, with smaller portion. Now when you understand what to eat, how much to eat, you know how many calories you need to eat a day. Like for example, for me, like 73 kilos, it would be, if I would like to sustain 30 calories per kilo, it would be 2190-ish. Yeah, 2200 calories a day. This is what I need to eat. So I validated, like, break down 60-30-10, and I see how many grams I need to eat for carbohydrates, for protein, and for fat. And I'm making my menu for a day. And then I divide it to 5 times. The only quick trick here, try to not take carbohydrates in the last meal. Usually last meal should be only protein, meat, and some salads with some olive oil or something which would add in fats, right? So that's pretty much it. 5 times a day, try every 3 hours, smaller portion, and last meal try not to eat carbohydrates, because when you go to bed, your body kind of slowing down, your metabolism slowing down, all your processes slowing down. So therefore, having a lot of glucose would cause the problem, because we don't need a lot of glucose overnight when we're sleeping, right? So therefore, try to minimize level of glucose even before you go to sleep. And therefore, it would not go to your fat tissues, adipose tissue, it would go to your body energy. And as always, let me summarize what we have discussed so far. So in order to transform our body and lose weight, we need to remember about 3 things. What are we eating? How much are we eating? When are we eating? What are we eating? Carbohydrates, proteins, and fat. Carbohydrates we can quickly divide by 2 parts. Good carbohydrates with complex, and bad carbohydrates, which is quick or simple. Why it's so important? Quick carbohydrates can be quickly decomposed by our digestion system to the glucose and will be released to the blood, which will rise the level of sugar or glucose in our blood, which will trigger insulin secretion and release to the blood. Insulin will take this glucose and put to different warehouses that we have in our muscles, in our liver, and in our adipose tissue, in our fat, and majority of it will go to fat, definitely. Just to give you a little bit more theory here, our muscles contains like about 5 to 10% of all glucose. Our liver contains up until 5%. Everything else in our adipose tissues. So you can see the proportion, how much goes to where, right? So this is important. So what is good carbon and bad carbon? You can also validate on glycemic index. If carbohydrate has very high glycemic index, like I would say above 50 or 60, I would completely eliminate these carbohydrates. So fruits with high glycemic index, honey, sugar, everything sweet, bakery, everything that kind of goes above like 50-60 should be out. Instead, we need to take like a lot of wheats, bread from whole grain wheat, and all this stuff, right? Protein. Proteins, very simple. Eggs, chicken, beef, even pork, but you need to be careful about pork with fat, how much fat this particular part of pork has, in order to not to increase your fat level. That we will discuss a little bit later. Again, cheese, cottage cheese, and all this type of things that contains nuts. Again, lot of things, but nuts is kind of natural. Sometimes you need animal meat as well. And fat. Fat is actually different type of oils, like olive oil, sunflower oil, and different type of natural oils. Omega-3, 6, 9. Try to avoid trans fat. It is usually gets when you barbecue your meat, for example, not boil it. I will have different video about this, but when you boil, you have maximum 100 degrees of temperature, and your fat inside of the meat will not be transformed to trans fat. While you're doing barbecue, it's like 200-300 degrees, then fats become kind of transformed to trans fat, which is not really good for our body. And don't forget about cholesterol. I know that cholesterol is bad, and everyone knows, oh, cholesterol is bad things. Don't forget, cholesterol plays important role in our body, so small amount of cholesterol you also need to eat, like, I don't know, for example, boiled or fried eggs. Eat it all egg, entire egg, not just egg whites, because you need cholesterol in order, for example, to secrete your sex hormones and other hormones. So this is about what are we eating. Now, how much are we eating? I provided breakdown: 60% of carbohydrates, 30% of protein, and 10% of fat. I know that 60% sounds very high. Within a week or two you will adjust how much you will need, maybe 30, maybe 50, depends on how quickly you are gaining weight, and losing weight. It really depends, and it's different for each person. On the other hand, I provided information that if you want to lose your weight, try to be close to the range of 25 to 30 calories per kilogram of your body. So if I'm 100 kilograms, let's say, so for me, in order to lose weight, I need to be between 2500 and 3000. If I'm trying to sustain, it should be about 30 to 35 calories per 1 kilo of my body, and if I would like to gain it, it would be 40-45. And another very important parameter for your goal is don't push yourself, don't try hard. Keep 1 kilo per week when you lose weight. Don't lose more than this, otherwise your body will be in stress, and this is not really good, because we don't want to stress our body. It will react differently, and you understand, right? We had different life, and right now we are changing it, and body need to do it kind of gradually. And the third one, when to eat. Again, as we discussed, in order to have our insulin level more steep, and in order to speed up or increase our metabolism, which is majority in this case is digestion speed of digesting, we need to eat more frequent with smaller portion. No snacks, no recess, no something in between. Particular 5 times a day would be optimal. 4 can be, but 5 would be optimal. Every 3 hours. And the trick here, try not to eat carbs at the last meal, before you go to bed, because our body, when we are sleeping, our body kind of slowing down, and therefore we don't need a lot of glucose circulating in our blood, because we are not moving, we are not doing a lot of activity, so it will go to fat. And at the very end, let me share a couple of hints from my personal experience. Everything I told so far may seem like it's very hard, or it's time consuming, or oh my gosh, I need to get rid of a lot of things that I like. Number one, it is very simple. So right now I feel very much more confident in what I need and how I'm doing this than it was before. Because before, what I want today? I don't know. Today I'm preparing my menu for a couple of days, then I rotate, then I rotate, then I rotate, and I know that today I have this sweet, this meat, and it would be for next 2 days. Then next 2 days I change the wheat, I change the meat, I change the salad, and I'm having this difference. So I'm actually doing this very simple, and even my wife said that, you know what, it's very easy to feed you right now, because I know precisely what you will eat next couple of days, so I don't need to figure out, okay, what I want to do today. Second, time consuming. Not at all. And I will have a couple of videos about the kitchen part of this process, how to cook, what to do. It is actually reduced amount of time being in the kitchen, seriously. Another part, eating this, especially at work or if you're on your way or at university, honestly, you need to try. One meal for me takes like not more than 5 minutes, because I know what I want. I prepare it for a day, and when time comes, I just take the portion. I'm eating it like 4 or 5 minutes, staying on desk, and I'm done. And if you take this 5 times, it is 25 minutes. Only one lunch will take you like 40 minutes. So this is really not time consuming. It is even vice versa and opposite. It is actually saving you a lot of time or work or study or something like this. So I will stop here. I know that it was very hard and very long. Subscribe to my channel, give me your like or dislike, share this video with your friends, ask me questions if you have any questions, because many times body can react differently on changes, so we can definitely together resolve what the issue we may have.